All right, you've already seen the title of the video. There's no point in me trying to be clever or anything like this with the intro. I'm looking at the official forums today to see what their reaction is to the North American Fan Festival announcements. For those who missed it, the new expansion Dawntrail was announced, and they gave us a bunch of high-level information. And, well, I'm curious what the official forums had to say about that, because they always say things, and they're usually very interesting.
Here's this video.
So let's see what this looks like. All right, so this first one,
It's, you know, that's one thing, let me tell you, that Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft share in common. They both have terrible forums. I mean, what game doesn't? Let's be honest, man. What game doesn't have terrible open forums? In everything. Just like RuneScapes are terrible. WoWs are terrible. FFs are terrible. They're all terrible.
one actually not too bad, because I've actually seen this around the community a little
Guild
bit
Wars 2,
before, and
staff
people were
sensors nearly
saying
every
it before
thread.
7.0 was even announced. But Thread, please make the new level cap 99 instead of 100.
Oh, God. We're really going to fucking bitch about that? Okay, here we go. Here we go, chat.
I know we always get 10 levels, but I'm pleading to make it 99 instead, in homage to all the other Final Fantasy games with a cap of 99. I like how they only want an homage specifically to the games that have the 99 cap, because there are games that do not have that cap. There are games that have the cap at 100. There's games where it goes even higher than that. Some of them,
spoilers,
them are just based on skill levels. Some of them don't have levels at all. But people were saying this a lot before it came out. But we also knew, if you're someone who keeps up with a lot of the news, that they were planning on making it 100 like 7 or 8 months.
Well, the question is, why do you give a shit about that when in the next expansion they're going to have to go over 100 anyway? You know? Does that mean next expansion you have to do 11 levels so that you can get to level 110? Like, you know, like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense.
Months ago, they talked about this. So there was already no chance of this happening. And, like, I get it. Like, the desire to want it to be, like, the classic level 99 that, like, most people know and grew up with, like, in the majority of the games. But there's no logical reason to do it. There's no logistical reason to do it. Honestly,
they haven't said that they've said they aren't sure if they'll go past 100 or not, but I'll be surprised if they don't. Wouldn't it be better to have a sub-leveling system like what SWTOR, Guild Wars 2, ESO, and Terra did rather than keep increasing the level cap? I don't know. If I was getting paid enough money to answer those kinds of questions, I wouldn't be sitting here, let me tell you. I don't fucking know.
The real question is what are they going to do after? And Yoshida himself has already said
maybe have like more horizontal progression,
because eventually
the
amount of levels that you gain just
I'm okay
a little
with that.
intimidating for players. So they don't know if they'll do another system or a level squish, or just say who cares and keep going up by 10 levels.
They will have to stop scaling it up at some point. Well, I don't think they'll ever stop scaling up. Sometimes you can scale. Sometimes you can like scale things down. Like World of Warcraft, I think has handled it fine. Personally, I don't really think it's been an issue. Like they level squished their game back down to 60, but I mean, I think overall it was pretty well executed. I don't know.
Levels, but yeah, that's not that uncommon of a sentiment. But they're not going to go back and change it now. I like how the idea is no, change it. You know, it's not too late. It's like, no.
Lord of the Rings Online's up to like 130 or 140 and it's fine. I don't know if I'd say fine, because I think that 130 and 140 is like a very daunting number to think about for like a game. That's insane to think about. What's the max level in World of Warcraft? It's 60 now. It went up to 100. I think it went to 100. Did it go to 90? Did they go to 100? No. Yeah. I think they did. I can't remember.
Do that? Oh boy, this title. I mean, this is one of the red threads, so you know this is.
Yeah, 70 is the max now. Yeah. Yeah, Zen Lily. That's one of those big things. Is like that's so many levels. That's crazy to think about. It's very like mentally daunting, I think.
These are usually pretty good.
That's a lot.
7.0 Copium has got to stop. For those who are not as terminally online as I am, Copium is like it's like a coping mechanism. It's a meme that like you're sniffing on something that helps you cope with whatever reality is. Seriously, I don't even know where people get the idea that 7.0 is going to fix or even partially fix the problems with this game. It's not just one or two people. It's like the majority of the player base. I don't know where they're getting majority.
I don't know. Let me just say, large sweeping generalizations, they don't work very well with the Final Fantasy XIV community. Or any community for that matter, so I would recommend just not doing that.
I don't think I've seen a single person who hasn't put the copium emote with that statement like, surely it'll fix it, copium. If you don't like the game at all, unironically save yourself the money and quit now, because at this point the game is irredeemable. There's literally no point in waiting for 7.0 to fix anything. Spoiler, they won't. Only reason to stick to this game is for secondary, non-game purpose. I guess they mean socializing or role-playing.
Which is part of the game. Sorry to let you know, but it's still part of the game, bitch. You don't just get to be like, yeah, the game's trash and not worth your time, but I still play it to roleplay and talk with my friends. Like, nah, bitch, you're still on the game. Shut the fuck up.
There's not a single exploratory content or horizontal content that succeeded with the entire player base.
Yeah, I think you could say that about literally any game ever that introduced any type of horizontal content. What is this? This person expects them to make a horizontal progression system that every single player likes? Come on, dude. Shut the fuck up.
No content is likely to succeed with the entire player base.
Yeah.
Except for glamour. That's it. Which is why the double tie thing got so much
Not
crap.
even that.
But exploratory, I mean...
Glamour, we have literal drama over fucking housing items, dog. You know what I'm saying? What? Nah. There's no aspect of any game, I believe anyway, that player bases unanimously agree upon as like fucking like everyone enjoys this linear progression system. If we're talking about story or art style or whatever, that can be, you know, that's different. And even then, you guys fucking know there's people who hate this fucking game's story. Somehow. It is what it is. It's just impossible. This person has, you can't meet expectations that are impossible when you set them. You know what I mean? You gotta know how to set expectations for yourself and for the game you're playing and stuff, because obviously if you live in a world where the expectations are always up here, it's not always gonna be met, even when people are trying their fucking hardest. It's just not going to happen. So
I get that the job system is complicated, makes things pretty hard for the devs, but I feel like the duration that we wait on new healers and tanks is absurd when there are only 4 of each. Healers, White Mage came first. There used to be, it was the only healer until Scholar was added and A Realm Reborn. Heck, it was technically Conjurer, and then White Mage was added like as a job upgrade mid 1.x. But yeah, they're still right. Then came Astra in 3.0 in 2015. Wouldn't be until 2021 that we'd see a new healer, which was Sage. That's 6 years wait.
Damn.
6 full years. Ridiculous. That got kind of extended because of the whole Shadowbringers delay thing, but
6 years, what's that? Would you guys say that that's two expansion cycles? What do you think? An expansion cycle is like 2-3 years? Unless I'm way off. That's what, like 2 expansions? I guess it's 3 if you literally just go by how many expansions there were. So yeah, 2 years each? 2.5 to 3 years? Yeah, that's a long time to wait. That's 2 expansions without a healer.
I feel you.
Anyway.
Tanks, Warrior and Paladin were the original tanks in 2.0. 2 years later, we got Dark Knight, no new tank in Stormblood, so by the time Shadowbringers came out, it was 4 years. 4 whole years for another tank. Not quite as bad because of Dark Knight, but it is a gap. Now for Dawntrail, we are confirmed to be getting 2 new DPS, the single most saturated job type in the game. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine with DPS. I understand DPS is more complex than just a job type. It has multiple different types. I'm in the camp that I really wanted a new caster DPS, so I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is the long wait it takes for games to add more to the other roles. I understand if they aren't as common as the damage dealers, because that is how it is in most MMOs, but I kind of wish we just had a few more, a little more often. Feels like the game does only know how to work a DPS and not a healer or a tank.
Ooh, that's a kind of a spicy take, but you know what, dude? I feel like there are... maybe it's because healers are situational and reactive, less so than DPS, but I feel like there are... maybe this isn't true. Let me think about this. There's some clunky-ass DPS, but after some reworks and some button merging and some purges and stuff like that, I feel like... as much as I like Scholar, it feels fucking clunky. In some ways to me. I don't know if that's true for everyone. Maybe I'm not playing it right. And Astro, I don't know how I feel about Astro, because I've never really played it enough, but also I'm like afraid of the button bloat and like it be maybe feeling like weird. So like when it comes to the design of, in my opinion, when it comes to the design of healers, even versus tanks, but I think tanks are middling compared to DPS. I think DPS are like generally the most smooth for me anyway, at least in the mechanics of the jobs. Okay, I feel like DPS are usually the best, and then tanks are usually like pretty good. Like Dark Knight and like Warrior's pretty straightforward. They each have like little things about them that I don't necessarily like, but they're not like worth bringing up because I don't think they're like real issues. But then I do feel like healers do feel the weirdest, or like the least, I don't want to say put together, but I don't know. Sometimes it feels like there could be more opportunity for synergy where it seems like maybe abilities are kind of cobbled together. Like I think the rotation, I hope this isn't a hot take. I think like the rotation of White Mage, for instance, is like really not good gameplay. Like, I don't think it's like that it's not fun to play. Like, it's not interesting to play, and like you get a lot of, I don't know, I feel like I'm like looking for moments to use OGCDs and stuff constantly on White Mage, because I just like, I don't know, have like so much fucking throughput like constantly, like, and then when I do damage, all I do is I put up a dot and I spam one fucking button, you know. I don't know. I guess all this to say that like I can kind of relate to where this person's coming from. I think for the forums, this is a pretty fucking reasonable take, all things considered. So,
hope that in 4 to 6 years, we are not without a new healer and tank. It is an integral part of the player base and should be respected a lot more. There are people that crave new healing and tankier content. I actually think a completely reasonable post. And honestly, these posts haven't even been that bad.
But yeah,
I totally get it if you're somebody who belongs to a role and you don't see something new for your
reactionary
role.
roles are harder to have
a
natural flow because they have instances where like you're choosing to prioritize something that is like perhaps in a sense suboptimal, but the way in which an ability might have to be used or when it's used, I think is more flexible, obviously, I think as it has to be for things like healers and tanks than it is for damage, because obviously the role of damage is to maximize your damage output. So your actual rotation and how precise it is, I think, is a lot more important, obviously, on damage doers, because that's all you can focus on, right? That's your entire role. So yeah, I think by nature, with healers especially, that it's harder to do that with. I think the issue for me lies in that, like, if you want healers to do damage, I feel like you gotta try to find a way to make that fun. And if that means giving them something a little bit more involved as far as the damage rotation, and then like maybe reducing the in some cases unnecessary complexity of like how many different buttons and options you have for healing, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that simplification is always the way to make something better and more enjoyable, but I think that in some cases, like, I think it can work. Like, there's, like, you know, Dragoon and stuff. I think simplifying that would do wonders for that job, frankly. And that's what they plan to do, right? As far as I understand. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Why the devs do that and how it leads to kind of those long waits that you
imagine
have.
all the molding and if SE streamlined skills to look like PvP, but for PvE. No, fuck that. No, don't do that. That's not enough. That's oversimplification. I'm talking like a couple abilities here and there. You know, I think that, frankly, when they did ability pruning in World of Warcraft, this is going to be a hot take to some people. I don't think for some classes, I don't think it was like honestly detrimental at all. In some cases, I think it really is what needed to be done, and it made them feel way better to play. I mean, I will flat out admit, like, there is a reason I have not played Paladin. There is a reason I have not played Astrologian. Like, those two specifically, I have avoided for a reason. So it's I don't know. That's just how I feel about them.
Effectively, the biggest surprise is, well, okay, so one of the two is very likely to get screwed over, but we understand why now, kind of. So back when they did Heaven's Ward, they gave us 1 DPS, 1 tank, and 1 healer, after also giving us Ninja about a year prior in 2.4.
Tigera, you're not calling shit. Knock it off. Stop saying that. They're not going to do that. I'll tell you that right now. Pally was simplified a lot recently, Pyro. I've heard. I've considered it. I've considered it.
From that point on, they said they would never do 3 jobs again, which is kind of what leaves this power.
I couldn't fit all the paladin abilities on my hotbar, lol, but it's not tricky to play. Yeah, I didn't like all the. It's just excessive. If I have to add another bar from everything that I have as Black Mage, Summoner, like if I can't make it fit in my fucking bar setup, I'm not gonna play it, dude. Paladin's so easy now, man. Yeah, maybe I'll fuck with it. It's not necessarily the difficulty that bothers me. It's just the excessive amount of abilities is like sometimes just. I don't think an excessive amount of abilities necessarily equates to fun and engaging class difficulty, you know? Yeah, but again, I think also that I don't think that simplicity and a low amount of buttons is fun either. I think that there is a middle ground to be found. Why am I talking like I'm in a fucking Dr. Seuss book, dude? I'm going to continue this video. I don't know what's going on.
That this person is acknowledging. The big thing is that, as they themselves have said, they always want to add a new DPS every single expansion. So that means that if there's 2 jobs, one of them is always going to be DPS. Now, if they ever
it's not alliteration. I'm just rhyming.
One new job, that probably changes. I doubt they would only add DPS to the game from that point.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's kind of already going to always consume 1 spot. So then they rotate the other spot. So they did 2 DPS for Stormblood, and then they did a tank and then a healer filling the other spot. Because they had a tank and a healer in 3.0, one of the 2 is going to get screwed. You are either going to get a 4-year wait for a healer or a 6-year wait for a tank, or it was going to be the way that it actually ended up working, and 4 for a tank, 6 for a healer. Totally get it, totally reasonable thing to think, but it's the reality of the situation. The big thing is always taking in stride the actual changes that are made to tanks and healers.
I feel like there's a delusional view on player demographic in terms of job mechanics, where you have people that want to type out an essay for a rotation versus casual players doing monkey press button rotation. Yeah, I think it's really hard to gauge. I don't know. I think, I mean, a lot of things are. I mean, how do you, I don't know. How do you measure that specifically? If I played a Black Mage, like, you've got to be masochistic. I went through the entire MSQ as a Black Mage and did all my fucking progression up until the end game as a Black Mage. Like, what in the shit fuck am I talking about? I'm talking about unenjoyable, masochistic, fucking too many buttons, too much bullshit, and I play a fucking Black Mage. Not that they have an excess of buttons, but that their class mechanics are like do or die. You know, you beat P1 through 4S as a Black Mage. I did. It was fun. It was fun.
8.0 will kind of be telling for the future, but I am expecting a new tank in 8.0. Not having that would shock me. All right, here's...
God damn, hold on now. What the fuck?
All right, here's a nice...
God damn it. Pyro, you fucking stupid fuck.
Every expansion, so 8.0 will kind of...
There was something very important I didn't want to miss.
But I am expecting a new tank in 8.0. Not having that would shock me.
Right. Nice. Okay. Cool. Right there, chat. You see that over there? That's fantastic. This is why... Dancer is just the best fizz range right there. That's pretty much it.
All right, here's a nice quick one, another reaction to 7.0 stuff. My big fear for 7.0. What is their massive fear? Well, in all caps, it's very easy to figure out. Button bloat, 3 exclamation marks. This is what I fear the most because I know the game is going to be great. Okay, you should wait for it to come. Like, I'm excited too, but like...
I don't get it.
It's a bold statement.
You don't get it? You didn't see that cheeked up fucking Vieira right there as a dancer? I'm just saying, man. That's really why we play Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, that's why I play, you know. Fuck all that other shit. Story, fuck it, dude. It's all about that Vieira booty. Sorry, chat. They got me. They got me. I mean, they got me. I mean, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Okay, they got me. Okay.
So, North American Fan, the title of it is 14 FanFest 2023 North America Safety, Security, Disability Support Issues Discussion. I don't even need to necessarily read the whole post. I'd prefer that you actually go to the post and engage with it yourself. But all the same, I don't see it as a search for FanFest safety, so I guess I'll start the thread. I'm a Vegas local and an avid and a 14 player and hope to see FanFest come back to my town in the future. That said, it looks like there were some issues on the floor last weekend regarding security and disability access to events, particularly pertaining to communication to festival attendees and communication ability within the event execution staff. No radios, how to communicate. Wow, that's mind-boggling. And then And they list a bunch of accounts here for people who are saying they need to talk about security, and there's a whole thread. And I've actually read through all of these threads as well. Zeppla also interviewed some attendees that were in need of, you know, special assistances, you know, people who were ADA. And from what I understand, it was just an absolute madhouse. There was a mix of quite a lot of things that went wrong, but I think what's generally agreed to is that the event staff made not enough effort, or in some cases, zero or negative effort to actually assist people who had disabilities who were trying to enjoy the convention. It was just a constant madhouse, and that was apparent. I mean, it was a madhouse for all the attendees. I've heard so many stories since FanFest about the event staff and how, oh, actually, Zeppla's thing is on here, her actual video.
Dude, all I'm saying is just, can we just please never do it in Vegas again? Like, Vegas, let's go to Seattle or San Diego. Like, San Diego would be cool. Like, just please, let's not go to Vegas, dude. It just fucking sucks, dude. Fucking sucks.
Which, for this topic in depth, you should probably just go to that video because we're covering this along with a lot of other stuff. But there's honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. Like, you hear like one person having trouble and you're like, wow, that's awful. And then there's all these other stories like, wow, it was awful for absolutely everyone. It wasn't like an isolated occurrence. It wasn't anything. It would have been unacceptable regardless. But yeah, I feel like it's at least worth highlighting all these stories. I'll include a link directly to this forum post.
Yeah, you know what area was really bad and like not good safe wise was the food court area, dude. There was absolutely like no staff direction on the formation of lines for any of the carts. And so it basically turned into this like huge gigantic double ended line that like no one really knew what the fuck they were in line for. And the lines were literally in front of all the carts, like parallel to them, not like coming outward from them at all. And there's just like, there was no staff, there was no like queuing of any sort. Now that I think about it, it was really fucking disorganized. It's kind of crazy.
In the
oh, and then you get to the front and then you have to buy a cheesesteak of $17 for some fucking toasted bread and some fucking cheese and some steak on a goddamn toasted bread. There was like no water stations or anything like that, even though it's 111 degrees outside, by the way. If you wanted to get a water, you had to buy a bottled water and they were $5 each. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, there was no like water outside for anyone that was being forced to stand in the queue outside. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Yeah, it was not a good... We were all literally talking about the fucking heat. We were all talking about how it's literally a safety hazard. We are experiencing the hottest fucking year we've ever recorded. Like, people should not have been standing out there for 2 hours in the fucking heat. It just doesn't, I don't understand it. Alec had heat stroke. I bet he fucking did. That's just, I mean, when Wave and I came out on day one to get in our Uber to go back to the hotel, we like walked outside and it just fucking hits you like a sack of bricks, dude. You're just like immediately just like fucking exhausted. Your body just feels like, you can just tell that your body is not supposed to be fucking operating in that temperature. Like you need to get out of it. It's pretty bad.
I fucking hate description
Vegas.
of the video itself.
I fucking hate Vegas. I think I can get to the point where I can say that now. I think, no offense to anyone living there. I don't mean this about any of the people that live there, you know. But like Vegas is dirty and gross and makes you feel bad about yourself and everything's too expensive. It's just terrible. It's a terrible place to be. I don't like it at all. And
then of course you have Zeppla's video, which is listed.
I own a house there. I fucking know you do.
As well. So yeah, definitely go engage with that because that's a major problem. But I also want to say this. I heard a lot of stories from some of these threads about how attendees were also being incredibly disrespectful. It was that the staff did nothing to kind of right the wrongs that the attendees were doing, and in some cases were doing nothing at all to help in the first place. So yeah. I do want to put a little bit of onus on some of the attendees who just seemingly didn't care. They were just there for themselves and didn't seem to have any sort of sense of the people that were around them. Like,
what does he refer? Maybe I should look into some of these other links here, but what is he talking about? Was there like some shitty behavior from attendees that I like am not aware of? Like, I'm sure there were, of course, but like I don't. I just don't know about that, apparently. I wonder if he elaborates on that.
Get it. Like, we haven't had a lot of social events. Like, there might be a little bit of some socially inept individuals, but for it to be so rampant and so just unconsiderate, I don't know. It's just it definitely upsets me, and I hate to see it this way because, you know, we all want to associate the event with something that's really fun and exciting and positive, but that's the fact of the matter is that's not how it was.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. There are multiple people who took clearly designated seats for disabled people. What the fuck is wrong with people? I remember some dude kicked a MrHappy cutout or something. What the fuck is wrong? What? Like almost knocking over people in wheelchairs and shit by getting so close and rowdy. That's so dumb. I feel like that'd be something the convention center would be responsible for. No, absolutely. Yeah, security and convention staff and event staff, that's what they're there for. Yeah. That's what, I mean, that's frankly a part of what we paid for in our tickets, you know?
For quite a few attendees.
I heard there were a lot of folk taking advantage of ADA and being rude and loud around them. Of all fucking places, dude, like what? Like what? Like that's the worst case scenario. Like what are you doing? The convention center staff, non-Square Enix was kind of crap, is what I heard. Oh, they were. No, I know. The inside queuing thing as well. I've never seen that before. At BlizzCon, they don't do that. At BlizzCon, everyone, like, they queue it up, and then they open the fucking doors, and everyone goes in. They just go in. Like, it's interesting. It was like an interesting experience. You like get in this line and stand around in a giant room with a bunch of other people for like almost 2 hours, like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And we just like, it got to the point where like we were just sitting on the floor, on like the concrete floor, just like trying to just like burn time, just waiting, essentially. And like, I heard convention center staff were kicking people out of the line for the battle test. I know that at one point they like stopped the lines because they didn't like have the staff available to cover the lines anymore. Like they went on the radio and like they got out signs and they were like standing at the end of the line basically. Yeah, SARS, I looked at that on stream yesterday, that the COVID comic thing. It felt very disorganized. It's a shame because I think that the actual activities that they had were fun and cute. I like the different little sets that they made and like, you know, like the little hunts that you do, the little side quests and stuff like that were really fun. And like the I don't know, I thought the announcements and stuff were exciting. It's just a shame that like where it was being hosted is like generally the problem. Las Vegas just fucking sucks. So I didn't get to meet up with you or Cobb Heron. My partner and I ended up doing other stuff around Vegas instead of most of the FanFest stuff. Yeah, my FanFest was basically like one day. That's pretty much all it was. Because the second day I missed entirely. I basically was just recovery day because I got fucked up the night before. So,
who had to put up with all the people who are making all this difficult, whether it was event staff or anything, just it's complete inaccessibility for ADA people to even begin to consider having a good time. So, wanted to switch gears a little bit for this specific topic.
I partied hard, dude.
And yeah, definitely going.
Bro, let me tell you something. After I fell on that lawn chair, I was almost ADA, bro. Let me tell you right now. They would almost had to put my ass in a wheelchair and wheel me the fuck up there. Ain't no way I was standing or fucking sitting in a normal seat or on the floor, dude. No shots.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not to take the seriousness away from what Happy's saying. The ADA accommodation and all that stuff, like that really, like, legally, like, you've... let's just say that, like, events in the future could not be held if people were treated poorly enough and had a bad enough experience. Just put it that way. Like, it's one of those things that you really can't and don't want to fuck up. It's very serious. And those people that need those types of accommodations... absolutely deserve them and need to have them available, just period. And There's no getting around that. Like, you just have to have it. That's it. Period. So it's a shame that it wasn't up to the standard that it should have been. And, you know, it sucks because I just hope that doesn't reflect on, you know, Square Enix or the decisions they made. I think the good thing is that generally the feedback is not about Square at all. It's pretty much just about the event staff and attendees of the event. Demise, thanks for the follow. I think the community's been unanimously unhappy about their accommodations. Yeah, it was, yeah. Yep.
Begin to consider having a good time.
But you know what? I would also like to throw out there, I'm thankful that I got to go. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to do that, and that it was within, you know, range of us so that Wave and I could actually go and attend it. There hasn't been one for a while, so I was thankful that I got to be there and meet all the people that I did. So that's not to say that the entire trip was not worth it or that FanFest sucks. It really just was the venue. So
begin to consider having a good.
It's the first FanFest they've had at a convention center instead of at a hotel. I think that they could definitely get away with doing it at a large enough hotel. That's why the BlizzCon Anaheim Convention Center is such a fucking sick venue, because it's literally connected. Not well, I think by building as well. It's connected to a fucking Hilton and to like a Hyatt or some shit. I don't know what the fuck the other one was, but yeah, the Anaheim Convention Center is pretty fucking sick. I'm just gonna say, like, I enjoy going to events there. The staff there was never an issue to me. Their security, I thought, was good. The accommodations, the vendors available, I thought were good. I thought the way that merch was handled and spaced out was good. There was no awkward queuing. Like, BlizzCon is a very nicely run event, I would have to say. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears back to the funny stuff, but seriously, no, to take that topic seriously and engage with it. The thread is Yoshi P calling everybody Warrior of Light in his speeches ruins my.
God, here we go.
Here's the thing. I know exactly what it's going to say before I even read it. It's not very long, though. But that title alone tells you everything. This is a case of my immersion. But is it an ironic case of my immersion? Or is it like someone genuinely has their immersion ruined?
Why are people so fucking dumb about this? Acting like there wasn't other Warriors of Light. Like, we haven't literally met other Warriors of Light. Like, why are people so fucking stupid about this? It's like, we literally have summoned them. Like, canonically, we're like, oh god, dude. It's just so, it's like, did you play fucking Shadowbringers at all? Like, at all? It is, I'm sure it's a troll post, but behind every troll post, I feel there's a little sliver of truth. And while I do feel like they are trolling, I also feel like that if we're going to entertain the idea of canonical anything, that they should remember that like, it's not uncanonical that there are multiple Warriors of Light. It's just not true.
Let's read it. There is only one real Warrior of Light, myself. And he needs to change his ways because seriously, it is pooping all over the storyline. Not everybody and their mum can be Warriors of Light. The story doesn't allow it. Does
But as the player, yeah, it does, because we are all Warriors of Light.
Yoshi no longer care about lore? Just call us players instead, not warriors. Oh my god. You know what's weird? They said there's only one me, but don't call us warrior. Like, they include themselves in the us of, like, not to be called warrior. I think he just doesn't want it to be said. But, like, I personally refuse to believe people like this are actual, like, that they exist.
Yeah,
I just refuse to believe it. So when I see a post like this, I'm like, that's bait. But my favorite thing is I can actually see the response under it. But I'm the Warrior of Light. He should stop calling you it. And then with the Spider-Man meme.
That's a good meme.
Oh
that's one of my favorite memes.
One comment that's like, I wish they would just treat us as generic adventurers instead of demigods. You know, I'd rather have my character seen and treated as a nobody. Oh my god.
What kind of I don't know. What kind of dumb shit fucking... I'm sorry, chat. The idea that our character should just be some unrecognizable nobody is so fucking stupid. If that's what you want, go play World of Warcraft. Because you don't have a name in that game. You don't have a name, a face. You have no lore significance, actually. Pretty much at all. So if that's what you want, I mean, shit. That's your game, dude. That's your game.
Either way, that can't be real. I refuse it. Here's another one. Please bring back exploratory zones in Dawntrail. In the keynote at the Las Vegas Fan Fest, Yoshi P announced the different types of battle content coming to the game in the newest expansion, Dawntrail. However, one type of content was not mentioned in any shape or form, and the slide was exploratory zones, the category that Eureka and Bosha belong to, or Bazia. While they said that you could still announce it, while they could still announce including it at a later date, its absence in Endwalker makes it will not return. So, I actually would like to give you guys some information. If you haven't seen my video on it, they did a press roundtable where press got to ask Yoshi P questions, and they all kind of just reported on all the questions that each other asked. And one of them was about more difficult 4-man content. But in the answer to that, Yoshi P did say they are currently looking at doing a new exploration zone, and they just want to get further along before they actually talk about it. So the odds of it aren't actually that bad, because they seem to be aware that it is something people want. And it'd be weird for them to answer it in the press briefing for Dawntrail as if it's not something they're planning for Dawntrail. So I wouldn't say just like universally accept that means we're getting it, but at the very least, hold on to hope. I think it's reasonable if they said they're actively looking into it and exploring it, no pun intended, that there is a decent chance that we get it. And honestly, that seems to be the case with most content types. It seems like based on that interview, like they're genuinely looking at variant, brand new battle content, exploration zones, a new deep dungeon. Like they just kind of named everything they've ever made in the past, and they make it seem like they're trying to make all of them a reality. I wouldn't expect that, but that would be really cool. This even mentions that exploratory zones could still be on the table for Dawntrail. It gives me some hope, but we should not stop having our voices heard. Absolutely agree. It is worthwhile to say that it's content you enjoyed. That is the best way to communicate it to devs. Doesn't always mean you'll get what you want, but they're absolutely correct. All right, and I've already taken more of these than I normally do for this video, but given the topic, I felt like it was worth doing. We have one last one that just says, the Blitzball dream is dead. Ugh. Yoshi P destroyed it. I'm very sad. Now I want to say to all of you Blitzball enjoyers out there, to all of you begging and pleading for it to be put in the game, I'm so glad it's not at least at 6.x. Woo! However, 7.0's Gold Saucer minigame is a mystery. We don't know what it is. It could still be Blitzball. I'm going to hold on to my excitement for now.
It's 6.5.
And save my disappointment for later.
I didn't realize.
You can probably have your disappointment now and have your excitement later. But I'm hoping you get disappointment later.
That's what he said no Blitzball to? Oh, 7.0? He said 7.0 update, no Blitzball?
Because I don't want it. Hi, swear.
Yeah, he said no Blitzball, and I was like, no, that's not funny.
Still the same person, believe it or not. I got pulled away at the end of that last video, and I guess I must have been really distracted because I never recorded an outro for it, and only realizing it now as I'm going back and editing the video itself.
With a haircut and
so, shave. Here I am saying, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the forum dive. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Like the video. Subscribe to the video.